Who else would start off a watch review, unboxing this time, video other than me, right? This is what you get from the Palooka Watch channel. It's all about saving time. Saving time. A little preamble for you. So this watch, I picked it up off of eBay, and it shipped out of Ukraine. I mean, there's a war going on. Who would have thought? So it happens to be a Russian watch. You guys have seen them for decades. I know I have. I've always been curious about them. The stylings of these watches made them look they just looked cheap to me in the pictures. And, you know, a little too much going on. We're talking about the Bostock watch. It's, you know, they're interesting watches. And like I said, I've never owned one. I've seen them for years. I've always been curious about them. And I spoke to a buddy of mine the other day, and he's the guy who got me back into watches. That's the guy I scored the Seiko Turtle off of last year. And he was telling me he's owned several of them, and he liked them. He said they held up pretty well. And I started doing more research, and they're interesting. And I've also noticed that the prices on them have been climbing. It used to be a couple of years ago, you could pick one of these Bostock watches up for, you know, $60. And now they're pretty, you could get one used probably for that now. But they tend to be about twice that, at least. And some of them are going for more money now. Of course, a lot of this is just inflation. We know that. And, you know, dollar's not worth what it was. That's a whole other discussion. This particular watch it hits all the right thing, at least in the pictures. We're about to see. We're about to open this package up. But I have to say, it looks a lot like my favorite style watch, which is the 50 Fathoms. Right? You guys know you should know all about the 50 Fathoms. This is the Blancpain 50 Fathoms watch. It was the first dive watch that you could just go to a store and buy. It came out around 1952. And this Bostock watch looks just like it. And the really interesting thing about these watches is they still use a similar system to the original Blancpain for the rear of the case back, which is a two-part thing. So we're going to talk about that. I've got a couple other homage versions of the Blancpain watch, including the Seiko, what we call the 55 Fathoms, which is how I stumbled upon the Blancpain 50 Fathoms in the first place, because I didn't know anything about it. I happened to stumble upon the Seiko. It was a little beat up in the pictures, and I just fell in love with it. I thought, that's a really attractive looking watch. It's a Seiko 5, and in the description, the guy was calling it a cheap 50 Fathoms. I didn't know what that meant, but that's what got me down the rabbit hole. You know, and after I got that watch, I said, well, I got to look into the 50 Fathoms, the Blancpain. I did all that research, and I picked up a couple of these homages, which you're going to see, and we'll take it from there. Stick around. All right, before we get to the unboxing of this Russian watch, which I'm going to start calling the Russian Blancpain, wanted to show you guys, this was the watch I found initially on eBay, the Seiko Sports 5 that people refer to as the 55 Fathoms. Love this watch. It's got some pretty good damage to the crystal. You might be able to see it on camera. I don't mind it. You don't see it when it's on the wrist. This is a copy of the original Blancpain by Thorn. And this one here is the True North watch company. And this is what you would call the Tornek Revel, a copy of that. And this was a watch that was made for the Navy SEALs during the Vietnam War, or going into the Vietnam War. And we'll show a couple details, especially on the back of this watch, as compared to the new Bostock in a moment. Okay, we're trying a different setup here. I'm at the shop, and it's been very low light here in the mornings. This is the package. You can see on here, it says it is from the Ukraine. Trying to work around this tripod. Not my typical setup when I do this at home. These come in a plastic case, as we can see. Decently packaged. And there we have it. It feels smaller than advertised. I'm going to show you a quick spec shot right here because I did not bring my calipers with me. I'll put it aside for the moment. Here is a little, I'm sure this is an instruction manual. Of course, it is all in Cyrillic. Apologize for the camera jumping in focus. I don't know what that's all about. Happens from time to time. It is an automatic movement. But yeah, you can't read any of this. On the listing, there are instructions for it, but I mean, I think it functions pretty much like any other watch. Let's pull this plastic off of here if we can. Whoop. Or part of it. Let's see what this is going to take here. There we go. Boy, it does not. Oh, there's some sort of schmutz. Look at this. This is not good. Water or some sort of schmutz got on the dial here. Let me, or excuse me, on the crystal. Let me see if I can clean that off. Tried a little spit on there, but this is unfortunate. There is some, I don't know what you'd call that. It might just be from moisture. Maybe I can polish that off with some glass cleaner and a cloth. I don't think that's on the inside. I think that's on the outside. That's kind of a bummer. But other than that, appears to be a pretty nice watch. Let's just quickly hold it up to, you can see they're about the same size. Now, again, it's an automatic. I'll back you out in a moment. I just want to get some quick, look at that domed crystal. I love it. Other than this imprint of something. It's almost like a saltwater marking on the. It is acrylic. You can feel it. That little stickiness when you drag your thumb across it. By the way, my thing with, excuse me, automatics, I just like to. It's in the wrist. It's a quick bop. Just a quick boom. People do the Seiko shake, but really you should just do a quick wrist move, something like that. You'll feel that rotor spinning in there to get that sucker running. First impression right off the bat, I love the larger crown. Let's check this bezel. Okay, that's very stiff. I think it's bi-directional. No, it's unidirectional. But that's, oh my God. You need a pair, okay, so you need a pair of vice grips here. Get this, here we go, there we go. Okay, so this is not easy to turn. Ah. Wow. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. Not stoked about that. I'm glad this watch didn't cost a whole lot of money. Let's unscrew this. So this is a trait of these watches, is this crown that is wobbly, the wobbly crown, the wobbly Volstock crown. It's called the Amphibian, this watch here. It's currently, according to my Seiko Samurai, about 1.5 minutes past 9. So it sets easy enough. I can feel when I screw this down, I can feel the rubber in there sealing. It's on this NATO style strap. Let's take a look at the back of this thing. Pretty heavy duty hardware on the strap. And yeah, that's what I was looking for. So you can see this is an outer ring that pulls down this central case, and it pulls it down into the rubber gasket, which gives this thing 200 meters of water resistant, which I believe from this watch. These are pretty tough watches. Again, I'm going to have to lube up this bezel to make it work and polish this crystal. I just wanted to quickly show you the back of this homage to the Tornaq Rayvel. It's either Revell or Rayvel. People pronounce it differently. I even still have the sticker on it. I keep this in the box. I'm probably going to unload this thing here. But you can see here that the True North Watch Company mimicked the same system. When I first looked at this watch, I thought, did they make a two-piece case back? That would have been awesome. But I took this off in a video to show you that it is one piece. So pretty neat. Interestingly, I suppose you could say, I don't know if how wrong I would be, but I suppose you could say that this is a closer version to, well, I don't know how to say it. It's closer to the original version of the Blancpain. Now this watch here, the Thorn, is pretty much an exact to spec copy of the Blancpain. Obviously, it's not the same movement, but it, they did mimic the original super tiny crown, which never made any sense. But this was the beginning of dive watches, so they hadn't really figured that out yet. They figure you're not going to be winding the watch too much, But this thing here is nice and good purchase on that. And I also like the way it looks aesthetically. I love the blue second sand. Look, let's see if we can wind this thing. I thought we had the sucker going. Hang on one moment here. So to wind it, you have to kind of pull out on this crown a little bit. But look, this thing does not want to run. I can feel the rotor spinning. Now it's going. Time will tell. I guess I'm going to have to wear this for a couple days and see how it goes. Let's see what it looks like on the wrist. So here it is on my 7 3/4 inch wrist. My wrist is larger in the warmer months. It goes down by 1/8 of an inch in the cooler months. Probably happens to everybody. I don't know what else to tell you. Let me get some glass cleaner out and try to polish that away really quick. I feel like I have to do that for this video. Yeah, I gave that a shot, but it's not happening. It looks like I've already put micro scratches in it just trying to wipe it with a cotton cloth. And you really cannot turn this bezel. Boy, I wanted to get to the details of the dial and everything, but okay, here we go. I mean, it'll probably get better if I sat there, but you know what happens? I can feel it. It'll spin and then it locks up. And then you got to force it and it'll kind of start to spin again. Now that sucker's locked up, man. That is not good. I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. It makes me want to stop the whole watch review. I'm definitely sending a copy of this video to the seller. Not that he's going to care, but I'm sure he's got other things to be concerned about over there. I do like the dial. I like the indices. I want to try to get a lume shot for you in a moment. It's got 31 joules. I think I've already inserted. I inserted the specs, and I'm sure I inserted the listing page already for you from the seller on eBay. Boy. Well, I mean, I got to tell you, I'm kind of glad I had, and well, I don't know what to say. I'm kind of disappointed here as far as the way that I love the way it looks. I think it's super cool. It's why I bought it. It does remind me a lot of the original Blancpain, you know, classic dive watch design. Clearly very legible. I love the blue second hand with the loomed pip. These acrylic crystals, you can buy a polishing compound, and I'm sure I can clean that right up if I want to, which I may do. I guess I could put a little lube on the bezel and try to get that to work a little bit better. I guess what's going to have to happen here is going to have to be another part to this video when I do those things eventually and come back to you with it. It's a neat looking watch. This was strictly just one of those things. I think I got a check or, you know, a deposit for a project. And when I do that, I kind of look at what's going on with my finances, and I'll typically treat myself to something that's not too expensive. You saw the price on this online there. And it was the whole thing was an experiment. Can I get a watch from Ukraine? You know, free shipping and everything. How long will that take? It took about 2 weeks for this thing to get here, which is not bad, considering. Man, I'll tell you, it's just, I love everything about the aesthetic of it. I like, you know, the case design, the polishing. It's pretty nice. It's, you know, it's a mirror polish. I like the bezel. I like the outside of the bezel ring where the grip is, even though you can't spin it. It looks to me like the insert is a ceramic, which I would prefer the aluminum. Of course, the old one, the original, was a Bakelite. And that's going to be it for now. We're just, you know, I'm just kind of disappointed in this whole thing, to be honest with you. You can't really use this watch. I mean, what the hell? It's like throwing money in the garbage, unless, I mean, for me, it won't be that bad. I'll figure this out. I'm sure I'll figure out how to make this bezel turn. I'm sure I'll be able to polish that crystal up a bit. Wish we had more light on the subject here. I set up a couple lights, but it's just not enough, I don't think. You know, I think what I'll do is I'll go home at some point. When I do another video on this watch, I'll pull the back off, and we'll eyeball the movement and everything. This is more of an unboxing and, you know, brief story on how I got here and why I purchased it. Again, because of these watches here. The original, which is, again, these are all copies. Wow. Trying to get this sucker to focus. But your original Blancpain, this is the copy, which was inspired by the Seiko that I initially first purchased, which, another thing about this I have to say, my favorite thing about this is the blue dial with the black bezel insert. I just think that looks sharp. I have another version of this watch in all black dial, black bezel insert on a rally strap, leather strap, which I really like. Of course, this Tourneck Revel. This was a gamble as well. This was something that I found on eBay, and the price, it was a weird thing with the auction. They had a low bidding start on it. I went to the website and saw what they went for on the website, which was pretty astronomical for what you're getting, because this has something like 50 meters of water resistant. It's a push-pull crown, not a locking screw-down crown. So even though this guy did a nice job of making the dial look a lot like the Tourneck Revel, and again with the case back, mimicking the two-piece case back, and all the markings on the back of this, the military markings, return it to a military facility, and the radiation symbol and everything else, go the extra mile. Put a locking screw-down crown in and make it 200-meter water resistant. I don't think that would have been that difficult. This is running a Miyota movement. And, yeah, now we have this. So, yeah, what is with that, man? That's ridiculous that that's like that. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to learn how to polish a crystal now. That's my next thing to teach myself. That's it for now. I hope you guys got something out of this. Maybe it's don't take a chance on buying these watches. I mean, I hate to do that. I mean, these guys need to make some money. But if you're going to get something out of the box, it's already effed off. That's just not cool. That's a shame, because it's a good looking watch. It has really good details. It's a shame that this bezel doesn't work right and that crystal's got a stain on it. That's pathetic. Having said that, you guys have a great day. Be good to one another. I'll catch you all in the next one.